is just fantastic. I haven't quite decided on what I'm going to call this. It is an opinion piece, but whether it be introspection, self-reflection, evolution of man, it's going to be something in that ballpark. On September 23rd, 2016, my family were rocked when my mother passed away at the age of 52 after being in a car crash 3 days earlier. It was a difficult time, but it did serve as a motivator. At the time, I was sat around 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, which was amazing. It was courtesy of a collaboration with Bearing that my channel got some steam to get that far. And when this happened, he was there for me. He sent me some lovely messages and some music that he himself had composed when dealing with his own grief. Thank you for that, by the way, if you ever see this. When this had happened, I was building my channel quietly, discreetly, and the reason why was because I didn't want to draw attention to something in case it didn't work out. Which is a shame, really, because I know for certain my mother would have loved to have helped. And that would have made things a lot easier for me, but it would have come at a cost to her, which is another reason I didn't say anything. With her passing, the first year was quite difficult. For me, it was because I didn't want to go to sleep, so I would pound 4 to 5 cans of Monster a day for a year, which did have a consequence. No, we're not talking weight gain, we're talking the kind where you eventually hit a wall. A year later, the channel was doing exceptionally well. We had been pushing ahead because, with the motivator being that I now needed to work and do better, I applied myself more to my channel and sought to improve at every opportunity. Sadly, the communities I was involved with, they fell apart. Turns out, tiny trivial issues pull people in all directions. Seeing this coming, I stepped away. Thank you, Mim Headroom, for the warning. A moment ago I mentioned I hit a wall. I don't mean physically. I mean in the sense where, one didn't take care of their mental health or tackle their issues, so eventually it stacked up and hurt you. With this particular issue coming to a head on my Discord server when sat in a VC for a fair amount of time, until I fell asleep because the anxiety was doing a bit of damage. I've been asked by a friend whether or not I am proud of what I've done on YouTube when it comes to subscribers and views. I say yes, but it is not what I'm most proud of. In fact, I'm most proud of the fact that I have a Discord server, which sounds weird, but I've had it for 3 years, and it's been a fairly safe environment for a lengthy period of time where, even though I remain aloof for a fair amount of it, I can still talk to people. Which is fantastic, and it has helped many others, which is what I consider to be more rewarding than a silver play button, which I'm still going to get. Seriously, I want it. With me hitting that wall and staying up with patrons and friends in the VC, eventually I had to go to the doctors. So I spent the day with my sisters so I didn't obsess over what was going on because the anxiety was out of control. Being as closed off as I have been for so long, due to somewhat obvious things, isolation, unemployment, one never bothered to look in upon oneself and try and work out what they felt. Anxiety was the only one I could truly identify, which is a bit peculiar, I will admit. But when you spend a lifetime poring over academia, feelings don't play a part until your feelings get hurt. So I was diagnosed with depression and given a very, very small pill. Very small, in fact. But the next day the symptoms had subsided, which meant I was able to then put my health first, which did yield positive results as I slowly regained control of myself, which then meant I was able to do something I had never done before, and that was to start making content way outside my comfort zone, which yielded the best results. But because of burnout, they are infrequent. Sorry about that, by the way. One motivator was all it took to push me to go from 5,000 subscribers to 75, which is astonishing that within the space of 4 years, such growth had been attained, along with consistency. And that consistency was what led me to believe that, with that, I could always seek to improve and change and adapt. Using something that is grief and turning it into something that could help me push forward has helped me, which I find to be amazing when I think about it. But maybe that's just me. Others might think it's a tad morbid. I'm sure some will. As many will have undoubtedly noticed, over the years this channel has gone through many different changes, whether it be the backgrounds, whether it be the art used on monitors, and of course the most obvious one, the intro-outro. And by that I just mean the intro because the outro was made for me as a gift by Devil's Advocate after my mother passed away. It's why I keep it, because it's a lovely gift. And jokes aside, yes, the real change was the avatar. Something that started as just Google stock images, because I didn't know how to edit images at the time, became fully customized. I dread the day somebody tells me they're going to claim copyright over tentacles. If I find it's one of those mukbang channels that dehood squids, I'm going to have a conniption. Because, again, that motivator that I had to not end up going backwards, in 2018, I had succeeded in what I promised I would do, and that was turn my YouTube channel into a job, which to me is the greatest accomplishment I have ever made. Not because I rely on this for my income, I have a cleaning job, but because I could use this to improve my life, which I've done. I'm sure it could be better. I'm sure I could own my own house one day, which is very unlikely at the age of 34. But it got so good that I had gotten to a stage where I was willing to try things I'd never tried, or hadn't tried in over a decade. For me, the obvious one would be dating. This will be short. Failed. But at least I tried, right? I still consider that a win, even if the result was negative. Because one's purpose on this channel was originally to rebuild myself, because my self-esteem had been eroded at. And it was that same self-esteem that plagued me when it came to telling my family what I was doing on YouTube. Why I sat up into the early hours of the morning even though I had to be up merely hours later to go clean a pub, playing Left 4 Dead 2, or just in a Google Hangout with Griffix, Feminism is for Nobody and a few others, or in a Skype call, listening to others moan about others because that's what people do. It's quite boring, I will admit, and I was really bad at Left 4 Dead 2, especially Versus. I'm not so bad anymore. The point is, the evolution of one's self has gone quite far, and I think this is a great opportunity for me to talk about things, how things have changed from my perspective and how that could impact me as far as evolution goes. Because I was a wreck when I started. I'm still a wreck now, but there's more control and a bit more confidence. And it was because of that motivation, because of loss, that I pushed and kept pushing and will continue to push. It's why I must always seek to improve, change, evolve, because if you don't look to evolve, you end up becoming extinct because of stagnation if it wasn't obvious enough. I am very proud of what I've accomplished, even with it coming from such a dark place, mostly because I don't find quitting or giving up to be remotely productive in helping me heal, which is also an important factor that is rarely spoken about on my part. I would like to believe that that is because it is a male thing, or the English way, but it turns out, after speaking to many people with issues on Discord, it's very much a people thing, where you don't want to become a burden to others, so you don't tell people when something is wrong. It took 3 years for me to make peace with what my family had lost, and what really helped was the fact that I had something to do, because in truth that's one thing I love doing, and that's working. And while this is a job to me, it's not my primary job. Okay, I like the cleaning. It's decent money. It's consistent, at least, when they pay me. It is also a fantastic opportunity for me to continue doing what I originally set out to do, and that is to improve myself. And if by doing so I'm able to help others, great, even if that is through news coverage and my perspective through what I discuss. This has been a unscripted, off the top of my head ramble. If it makes any sense, do let me know what you think in the comments down below. As a final little detail, I would like to take this opportunity now to thank all the wonderful patrons that I have that have continued to support me over the many years that I have been active on YouTube. Your support genuinely means the world to me. Thank you.